My topic is the impact of climate change on livestock production, especially the challenges impacting trade. I'm Dr. David Balikowa. I work with the East African community as a senior livestock officer. Climate change and variability are major themes, and the resilience of households keeping livestock, households and communities. Climate change impacts all stages of the value chain, from sourcing of inputs to production, processing, consumption, and eventual disposal. Every stage of the value chain is impacted. And it's mainly the extreme weather events such as flooding, drought, as well as the changing rainfall patterns or weather patterns, the high ambient temperatures, the pests and diseases that impact production more. These are some of the issues my colleague has already highlighted. But in terms of production, it's feed shortage, scarcity of water, vectors of diseases like ticks, pests like the fall armyworm, the desert feed resources, and even the damage to road infrastructure and other rural infrastructure which are needed in the marketing of livestock and livestock products. That's where the impact is felt more. Let me remove this one. It's interfering with my slide. So, at production level, scarcity of feed and water. During extended drought, the quality and quantity of feed available for livestock, especially the forages, deteriorates significantly. And that one impacts the ability of animals to obtain the nutrients, both for maintenance and for productivity. Diseases and pests, their prevalence also increases in association with the climate change factors. And heat stress does not only impact animals that graze in the open, but even animals that are housed. Heat stress will impact reproduction, especially the breeding, the reproductive behavior of animals is impacted by heat stress as well as nutrition. So when there is feed scarcity, those who buy feed, like the prices of corn may go up. If you are buying hay, the prices will also go up. So as a result, the cost of production is raised, owing to the cost of providing water, the cost of feeding the animals, the cost of treating diseases associated with the changes in the climate. So the cost of production decreases, the animals are poorly fed. So as a result, there is in terms of milk, the yield will go down. In terms of growth rate of young animals, it will be interfered with. Egg production will go down for housed birds. And in some cases, the animals may die. It could be the cattle, it could be goats, it could be as low as a result of lack of water or lack of enough feed. Okay, so after production, you are supposed to market the products and the live animals. So there is a reduced supply of milk. In this case, the traders will not get enough milk. And commonly what they do, add water. You'll be surprised that when you expect the milk to be more concentrated during the dry season, that's when you get more adulterated milk, because the producers and the traders are trying to increase the volume so that they maintain the user income. The milk collection and bulking centers will not be able to receive enough milk. So they operate at a lower capacity utilization, which increases the cost of chilling per liter of milk. For the live animals which are supposed to be marketed, due to the lack of feed and water, the owners will be forced to sell off their animals. And because of the poor body condition of the animals, the prices the farmers will receive are much lower than what they would receive when the animals are well fed. As a result, the income to the farmers goes down, the income from both sale of milk and sale of live animals. When floods and landslides occur, they cause damage to rural infrastructure. Of concern to us who have to market livestock and livestock products are the feeder roads in rural areas. When they are damaged or they are not motorable because of flooding or because of the water conditions, buyers of livestock and livestock products cannot access the farmers or the markets. So as a result, access to livestock markets is interrupted. So farmers who get a few buyers are cheated because the buyers are now few. Those who can afford to navigate the difficult road conditions will give much lower prices to the farmers. So as a consequence, farmers will also get lower income because of the bad roads. At processing level, the processors will not be able to get enough raw material. So if it's a milk processing plant, every dry season, there is always scarcity of raw material. If it's a meat slaughtering plant, the animals will be there, but of poor quality. But if the drought is extended, there will even be shortage of animals for slaughter, including birds. Because when the prices of feed go up, there are some farmers who will see it as uneconomical to rear birds. So even companies slaughtering birds will not have enough birds to slaughter. As a result, capacity utilization of the processing plant goes down during the severe drought. And that implies higher operational costs per volume of the product produced by the plant. That one forces the plant or the processor to raise the wholesale price and the recommended retail price. If a processor has a commitment to supply a market, either to supply, let's say, supermarket or to supply an export market, extended drought will lead to disruption of the capacity of the processor to meet the required quota. So eventually, the processor is not able to do business as usual, and the income to the processor will go down until the drought goes. Okay. At the level of consumption, for those of you who have been in urban areas, you find that during periods of drought, which occurs almost every year, there is shortage of milk and milk products. The meat might be there, but it will be of poor quality because of the poor nutrition of the animals. And the eggs, there might also be shortage when farmers give up because of the increased feed prices. Many farmers might abandon keeping layers, so there may also be shortage of eggs. So whenever there is shortage of milk and milk products, the prices go up. And much of the milk on the market will be adulterated by the traders. So when the consumer prices go up, it means the households will have reduced access to animal source foods. As a consequence, there will be malnutrition, especially for the infants. In the semi-arid and arid areas where pastoralists raise their cattle, as a coping strategy, the herders will move their herds in search of pastures and water. And this is characterized by conflicts in the communities where the herders take their animals. The other consequence is transmission of diseases by the moving herds. And the families left behind and are not able to go with the herds will not have enough milk and blood, which is normally a major component of their diet. So that one also leads to malnutrition. So in order to cope with the climate change in the area of production and trade, it's necessary to increase investment in research and innovation, to increase dissemination of proven climate-smart agriculture technologies and practices. According to FAO, climate-smart agriculture has 3 pillars: being able to increase climate change resilience, that's adaptation, a technology or a practice that can increase climate change resilience, or mitigation of greenhouse gas emission, or enhance productivity and income. So we need to increase dissemination of such technologies and practices. We also need to create public awareness among the stakeholders on the issues of climate change mitigation and adaptation measures. There are many technologies available that can help farmers to adapt to climate change and variability, but they are not well known to the producers. Among the technologies available is improved pasture technologies. Pastures.
Doctor, if you could summarize, please, your time is.
Okay, pastures which are drought tolerant, early maturing, and high yielding. Fodder conservation is one of the technologies. Harvesting water in semi-arid areas, use of valley dams and valley tanks has been useful in storing water for the pastoralists. Being able to study the patterns of disease occurrence and developing control strategies. Documenting climate change effects on livestock value chains and generating different innovations to address climate change. Promotion of value addition. If we can convert excess production in the flash season so that we can produce high value products that can be stored and have a longer shelf life to be used during drought or for the export markets. Other strategies is to enhance the use of renewable energy such as biogas and solar energy for various purposes, including irrigation, even insurance. Innovative agriculture insurance and financial services can help to cope with the climate change impacts. Digital technologies for weather data collection, extension, advisory services for marketing, financial transactions can help in coping with the climate change. As a conclusion, we know that there are many proven climate smart technologies and practices that just need to be widely disseminated and adopted by the producers. It has been proved that individual practices are not as beneficial as a combination of practices. For example, when you combine planting of improved pastures with the forage conservation, water harvesting, and rearing of improved dairy cattle, you are likely to get better adaptation results than someone who picks on one practice and adapts that. And lastly, in order to develop efficient, sustainable, and inclusive livestock value chains, we need to ensure that there are strong linkages between production, processing, and marketing or trade. This is what can incentivize investment in climate smart agriculture. I thank you all for listening to me.